Revelation chapter 21, verse 18. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. Shalom Yasharala, peace Israel. Kahalayimla Alahayanawa, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. All praise to our power, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Peace and blessing to elect Israel. Shalom. Job chapter 36, verse 7. He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne. Yeah, he doth establish them forever, and they are exalted. Psalms chapter 122 and verse 4. Beginning at verse 3. Jerusalem is built as a city that's compact together. Whither the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, unto the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. But there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. This is a big thing, man, because we are a part of power that we can't fully comprehend right now. We are a part of something that's beyond this world, beyond this earthly realm, but it's going to be established on this earthly realm, on this earth. Okay? Because as it tells us in the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. Yes, our kingdom will be on the earth, but the order, the prestige and the honor, the majesty, but beginning with the order, that's coming from the heavens. And along with that, the glory. Okay? So what we're a part of is well worth it, man. Okay? It's more than worth it.
Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothe the grass which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into is a lesson that was inspired, from the book of Tobit, the first chapter, as I was reading over it this morning, and some stood out to me, concerning the bread of the Gentiles. I want to go into it in the spirit. Lord will, this is edifying. Um, I don't believe that the notification went out. I ain't see one. If y'all got one, I know I was trying to look for it, but at the end of the day, you know what it is. So what I want to start off with is going into the book of Tobit, the first chapter. Okay, and so when you read Tobit, you find out that Tobit was a real was one of our forefathers. That was real solid. Okay, when it came to righteousness, when it came to charity, when it came, to integrity. Okay, when it came to being a reasonable man of understanding. Tobit was a stand up guy. Okay, within our nation. You know, so I want to start off here, and I want to make some comparisons. Because one thing about it, our people have us as a nation. Okay, we've always gone into captivity under heathens for our disobedience. You know, and within these captivities, you have to remember, our people weren't just living. When you think of Israel going to captivity to these heathens, all right, our people weren't just walking around with no shoes, okay, no shirt, just building buildings, okay. You had particular of our people that will rise up through the ranks and have particular positions within these certain captivities, okay, and their integrity, even within the position that they had, is recorded in particular, captivities, man. Okay, so let's start with the book of Tobit, chapter 1, verse 1. It said, the book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiah, the son of Ananiah, the son of Adu, the son of Gabal, the seed of Asal of the tribe of Naphtali. All right. It says, who in this time of Shalmaneser, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of this, all right, B, which is at the right hand of the city, which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee above Asher. So Tobit, all right, was a part of that generation that was taken captive, okay, of the Assyrians under Shalmaneser, okay, and they was deported into other lands, all right, and Tobit will end up in Nineveh, okay, as a captive, all right, from the tribe of Naphtali, which was of the northern kingdom. It says, I, Tobit, had walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation who came with me to Nineveh and to the land, okay, of into the land of the Assyrians. Okay. And it says, and when I was in my own country in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali, my father, fell from the house of Jerusalem. They split, okay, between Jeroboam and Rehoboam. Okay, Rehoboam, all right, being the king of the southern tribes. Okay, and Jeroboam, became king of the northern kingdom. All right, which you have the split, you know, and the northern kingdom went directly into idolatry, man. Okay, it says, fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, that all the tribes should sacrifice there, where the temple of the habitation of the Most High was consecrated and built for all ages. And see what Jeroboam did, he stopped the northern tribes from going to Jerusalem to worship because he felt like it was going to, reunite them, under Rehoboam, so he pretty much set up, all right, pagan altars, okay, in Samaria, where the northern kingdom didn't have to go as was commanded, to the temple and do particular worship. Okay. It says, now all the tribes which together revolted, and the house of my father Naphtali sacrifice unto the heifer Baal. But I alone went often to Jerusalem as the feast, as it was ordained unto all the people of Israel by an everlasting decree, having the first fruits in the tents of increase, and that which was the first shorn, and them gave I at the altar to the priests, the children of Aaron. Okay, so this lets you know he was doing this before the northern kingdom was taken captive. He was a devout, follower of Yahweh Bashim Shah of the tribe of Naphtali. Okay, he would leave, Samaria, all right, the land of Naphtali, the portion where Naphtali was, he would leave, from there and come to the temple to worship. Okay, he was faithful. You see, and it says, the first tenth part of all increase I gave to the sons of Aaron who ministered at Jerusalem. Another tenth part I sold away and went and spent it every year at Jerusalem. All right, giving tithes. Okay, it says, in the third I gave unto them who it was meet, as Deborah, my father's mother, okay, his grandmother, had commanded me, because I was left an orphan by my father. Furthermore, when I was come to the age of a man, I married a not of my own kindred, which means she was of Naphtali, all right, and of her I begot Tobias. And when we were carried away captives to Nineveh, all my brethren and those that were of my kindred did eat the bread of the Gentiles. Okay, did eat the bread of the Gentiles, and we're gonna, go into the spiritually. Now, they was literally, eating, okay, the foods of Assyria, which meant a lot of their food was, unclean, unlawful, you know. But we're gonna go into how that's going into a mindset as well. Okay, they pretty much digested their captivity and was satisfied, man. Okay, and we're gonna go into it. Says, but I kept myself from eating because I remembered the Most High with all my heart. So he kept himself in Nineveh. He kept himself from partaking, okay, in the bread of the Gentiles, okay, in the food of the Gentiles, man. Okay, and we're gonna go into the meaning of that. It says, because I remembered the Most High with all my heart, and the Most High gave me grace and favor before Shalmaneser, so that I was his por, 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 porier. Okay. Now I looked up what a porier mean, because pretty much he was elevated, within the courts of the king, and that will happen often with our forefathers, because like I say, as a king, you would need someone that you can trust, someone of integrity around you. So Tobit, okay, was promoted, all right, and I looked up the word, just for edification's sake, uh, Pavoyer, and I looked up the synonyms. So you go here, okay, let's see. All right, so you go to the synonyms. It means an administrator, an attendant, a waiter, an agent, okay, chamberlain, a director, okay. So pretty much, he had office within the king's courts. He probably was a top administrator of different affairs and attended, under the king. But this made him well off, and he was extremely charitable, okay, um, towards his people, okay. So he was elevated, all right, under Shalmaneser. Going back to, what we, brought out the other day: for man's way please the Lord, even his enemies, will be at peace with him. Okay, so let's go from there. And what I want to do, because when I first read it, this made me think of the account in Daniel. Okay, as Tobit, he withheld from eating, of the bread of the Gentiles. Okay, now when you go here, let's hold on, let's pull this up. So let's get this in the book of Daniel. Okay, and we're gonna really get into, okay, what's the spiritual overtone of what's going on. Now, when you go to the book of Daniel, chapter 1, and this is the southern kingdom, all right, being taken, all right, by the Babylonians. Which Daniel was in the one of the first, all right, exiles of the southern kingdom. Okay. Now, this is Daniel 1 and 1. It says, in the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Joachim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of the Most High, which he carried into the land of Shinar, all right, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure of his God. And it says, and the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and tongue of the Chaldeans. So, when you would take a nation into captivity, everybody, wasn't an industrial worker, wasn't a construction worker, okay, or picking watermelons, okay, because remember, Israel was a sovereign, all right, a superpower at one time, okay, and the heathens knew that Jake was extremely skillful when it came to administrating, all right, and running systems. Okay, and Daniel was a part of this number. Him, all right, and the three Hebrew boys, which you're gonna get it. They're gonna go into it. It says, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Okay, so they was appointed daily provisions because they were to be of a direct servants to the king. You know, so he will provide, and the king will provide them, okay, with provision. Now, so they will eat, the best foods, okay, the best wines, okay, pretty much wine and dining them, man. Okay, so when you read on, it says, now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. It says, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and Mishael Meshach, and Azariah Abednego, and those are the three names that we learned in church. They pretty much went by the Babylonian names. Okay, they didn't go into Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay, what you're going to go into that. It said, but Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now, when you go into the commentary, and this is NLT commentary study Bible. It's decent. It ain't good as a Nelson study Bible. Um, but it has good timelines and certain things on there. Like I said, it's okay. He got his strong points. You know what I'm saying? But I want to go into, now this is Daniel 1 and 8, all right, from the study Bible. And it says, Daniel resolved not to eat this food, either because it was forbidden, okay, by the laws of the Jew, okay, such as pork, or because accepting the king's food and drink was the first step toward depending on his gifts and favors. Although Daniel was in a culture that did not honor the Most High, he still obeyed the God's laws. Okay, he still obeyed God's laws, the Most High's laws. So Daniel turning down, the king's portion, which more than likely, they will eat the wild boar, those unlawful foods. But also Daniel, okay, didn't want to partake, okay, in pretty much that luxurious lifestyle, okay, of the king. Because what, a gift destroyeth the heart, and we're gonna go into that. Okay, when it was time for our people to leave Babylon and build the temple, we're gonna read an excerpt. Okay, but Daniel didn't want to be pampered, by the king's delicacies, man. Okay, because of unlawful food, and also he didn't want to, okay, get accustomed to depending, okay, on the king for this certain lifestyle, man. He was good. Okay, it says, um, let's go from there. Now I got another one. Now this is in the Nelson Study Bible. Okay, this is Daniel 1:5. It says, these young men, after their training, all right, speaking unto the, the king's seed, the men that was taken, to pretty much be within the courts of the king. He said these young men, after their training, will easily serve as liaisons, okay, or like counselors, or mediators between Babylon and Judah, or even as hostages to keep Judah's king submissive. The name changes are a good example of attempted brainwashing, okay, when the names were changing. All right. Now, when you go into it, the name changing, it says the name changing are a good example of attempted brainwashing. All four young men had good Hebrew names that reflected their godly heritage. They were given instead Babylonian names that denoted praise of Babylonian gods. Daniel, which is God is my judge, was changed to Belshazzar, which means Baal will protect. Hananiah, which means the Most High is gracious, to Shadrach, which is inspiration of the sun, gonna make the sun worship. Mishael, which is the Most High's without equal, to Meshiach, which means belonging to a Ku, which is a Babylonian deity. And Azariah, which meant the Lord is my helper, all right, to Abednego, which means servant of Nego, all right, which is a Babylonian deity. It said their new names were intended to give them a Babylonian rather than a Hebrew identification. The rest of the book shows that although the Babylonians could change their the young men's names, they could not change their character. Okay, so not partaking. Hold on, so like, let me plug this charger. Yeah, Salakia. I forgot to plug up the laptop. Well, yep. So you go into it, all right. The Babylonians pretty much they want to turn, okay, because once you turn the leaders out, okay, then the leaders will be able to persuade, all right, their people that are captive, you know, to be more like what the Babylonians, okay. Just says, was it brother can post that in let's get that in Second Maccabees chapter 4, okay. let's get that second Maccabees chapter 4 verse. Matter of fact, I'll read it. So I'm gonna read down on. This is the book of Second Maccabees chapter 4. All right, verse 7. It says, "But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, okay, or Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onanias was a righteous high priest, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by the intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up a place for exercise and for the training up of the youth. All right, in the fashions of the heathens, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians, which when the king had granted and had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to a Greekish fashion." Okay, so what they were trying to do with Daniel, all right, Hananiah, Azariah, all right, Mishael, they wanted to turn them, okay, into Babylonians, okay, through culture. So they would influence the rest of Jake, okay, to be what? Of the Babylonian culture. You see? But they didn't budge. They was faithful to Yahweh Shema Shai, no matter the name change, no matter the positions and the privileges they had within, okay, this empire. Just as Tobit, he was privileged, he was well off. Okay, that's why, like I say, that's why he was able to, Tobit was able to have so much charity amongst Jake, because he was well off. He had a high ranking position within the Assyrian Empire. Daniel, they had high ranking position. Daniel was promoted to president, but guess what? He stayed faithful to his power. Okay, and we're gonna get there now. Just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, let me pull this up real quick. Now, when you go to Tobit, let's go back to the Apocrypha and get a few precepts. And I want to show y'all something in Tobit real quick. When you go to the book of Tobit. Now, when you go to the book of Tobit, it says, "And I went into Media, okay, and left in trust with Gabriel, the brother of Gabriel, at Ragas, a city of Media, 10 talents, okay, of silver." Okay, 10 talents of silver. Now, I just looked it up. When you go into 10 talents of silver today, you know, that's equivalent. That's equivalent to roughly $27,000 of U.S. money. You know, 27,000 of U.S. money today. So Tobias, pretty much just kind of left it, put up, to the side. And remember, he was always giving to his kindred, but he still, would have money. He was just able to put up and just leave with people, you know, and just pretty much put that to the side. And, he's going to send Tobias to go get that money. You read on in the book of Tobit, but just to show you, that our forefathers, a lot of them were well off men, but see, these are men that kept their integrity. As the scriptures say, okay, when you go into let's get this in the book of Sirach. Okay, so you get the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse, all right, 21. It says, the fear of the Lord goeth before obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. Okay, and you have our forefathers that whether they was rich, noble, or poor, their glory was in the fear of the Lord. Because you go into Tobit, show you that he wasn't in love with his life, that he was he feared the Lord. He was burying the bodies of Jake, that the Assyrians were killing, and it was unlawful within the Syrian Empire to do that because there was a shame, to kill someone, to murder someone, then leave their body above ground, you know, and Tobit would bury him, okay, and he put himself in danger for doing it. And when you really, reading the Tobit, he lost everything behind that, man, you know, but he had a fear of the Lord above anything, man, above his status and his rank and the money he was making and the privileges that he had, man, just as Daniel, okay, and Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. That's why they found themselves in them predicaments, the lion's den, the burning fire, because they didn't care about the status privileges of that current society. Okay, they was hey, they feared the Lord. Okay, their fear, all right, they had a foundation that was rooted in the fear of Yahweh by Shema Shai and being obedient, man, no matter what. you know, when you they ain't partake of the bread of the Gentiles in the spirit, they couldn't be bought out. All right, even in the danger of death, they couldn't be brought out. Okay, and you have this. Okay, and show you another example of one of our people that was well off during the Babylonian captivity. You go into the husband of Susanna. Okay, you read these things and kind of let you know that I was like Jake wasn't just laborers within these different empires, man. Jake always certain Jake, our people, hey, they the salt of the earth, man. So they gonna always be in these particular positions, man, particular of our people. Now, this is Susanna 1:1. It said there dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim. And he took a wife whose name was Susanna, and the daughter of Chelseas, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Moses. Now Joachim was a great rich man and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews because he was more honorable than all others. Okay. So hey, our people, would be well off, and you had some of our forefathers that was well off, but they kept their integrity, man. Because even it tell you that in Psalms, okay, in the book of Psalms, it tell you that, man. Because riches, having substance is not wicked. All right, what's being wicked is being conformed to the heathen, to increasing substance. You see, these men were blessed of the Lord and they had integrity. Okay, they kept their integrity. They kept their right way. You see, this is the book of Psalm 62:10. It says, "Trust not in oppression; become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them, which is your mind." Okay, so our forefathers would increase, in riches and status. Okay, but they wasn't consumed by it. They still kept their integrity. Okay, and they was willing to lose it, okay, which Tobit did lose it, you know, in order to continue to serve Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right. Now let's go from there. And I wanna segue to this because we was born into the way of the Gentile. We was born into captivity, but then we began to partake in the bread of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, okay, which is the scriptures, which who comes in the volume of the book, Yahweh Shai, okay, the bread of life. You know, we talked about that yesterday, man. You know, we begin to eat the bread of life within our captivity, okay, and now the Lord is bringing us back. So when you go to, let's get a few precepts. So when you go here to Ezekiel, what did the Lord tell Ezekiel to do? All right, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 2, verse 8. And it says, "But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not, be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house." And remember, Ezekiel was within the Babylonian captivity too. It says, "Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee." Okay, what is he speaking of? Okay, the Bible, the book. He's gonna go and says, "And when I looked, behold, and hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein." So he's telling Ezekiel to digest, all right, the scrolls, man, and the scriptures. You see, just as we've been given this roll to eat, okay? And what you had, I want to get this account too. Um, when you go to Ezra, the prologue of Ezra in the Bible, okay, the one that's, you know, the book before Nehemiah in the Bible. But when you go to the prologue of Ezra, you know, I found this interesting. All right, it says Ezra continues the Old Testament narrative of Second Chronicles by showing how the Most High fulfills his promise to return his people to the land of promise after 70 years of exile. Israel's second exodus, this was from Babylon, is less impressive than the return from Egypt because only a remnant chooses to leave Babylon. Only a remnant chooses to leave Babylon. Why? Because the rest of our people had became accustomed and acclimated to Babylon. Remember, Babylon was popping. Babylon was lit. Okay, so when Jake did finish working, and you know, hey, they was able to partake into the harlot temples and the parties and you know the festivities of Babylon. Man, they became Babylonians. Okay, they didn't want to go back and build because they would have to leave their possessions in Babylon to come build the temple, and a lot of our people didn't want to build. Okay, they would rather stay in Babylon, just like today. Our people don't want to leave the things of this world, their current lifestyle, and begin to serve Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay, they don't want to put their status and you know their things in jeopardy to serve Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay, because what did during the time of Ezra, what did they leave to do? To do what? Go build the temple. Okay, in the spirit, we're building that temple. Okay, and in our mind, we know, hey, we're gonna have to leave these things, man. Okay, so go here and we'll get into it. But when you go to Ezekiel, the Bible is likened unto what? A roll. Okay, you go to Isaiah. All right, it's the book of Hosea 55 and 1. It says, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, all right, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come ye buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Okay. It says, wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread? Okay. And our people have fell in love with the bread of the Gentiles, man, which goes into pretty much the acceptance, okay, of this current culture, man, this current society. Because what Jake say, long as I'm getting my money, I don't care what, that's Jake mentality, man. You see? It says, and your labor for that which satisfieth not. Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight in fatness, man. So now we begin to partake on the bread of Yahushua, the bread of life, man, and our spirit is satisfied, man. Okay, because as our people labor in this culture to get money, look how miserable the masses of our people are, man. Okay, look how lost and just distraught the masses of our people are that continue to partake in the bread of the Gentiles, man. Okay, but now we've been begin to eat Yahweh Shai, and now we're delighted, man. We're satisfied with what's to come. Okay, even just how you look into our day to day, and seeing how now we started to walk in righteousness and see the favor of the Lord upon us is like this is delightful, man. It's becoming more and more delightful, man. To partake of this bread. You see, and the scriptures warn you of the bread of the wicked. Daniel. This is in Proverbs. And Daniel. Hey, Daniel knew these things, man. Okay, because this was before Tobit. All right, these things were written before Tobit. Okay, and before Daniel, during the time of Solomon. It says on life and conduct. It said Proverbs 23:1. It says, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite, which means what? Have restraint. Okay? Have restraint. Because like I say, it's okay to, make money moves or do particular things, but there's a restraint when it starts to affect your spirit, when it starts to, take away, all right, in the spirit. When you have to bend your morals and your standards, all right, to increase. And that's where the fear of the Lord comes in and gives us that restraint. All right. It says, be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Because Esau has given niggas more money than ever, but look at the finished product of the people. Okay. Look at the mindset, all right, that has been pushed on the people. Because Esau, like I say, he has given our people more money than ever. Niggas just got money everywhere. Nigga money all up their legs, nigga, cell phones, money, nigga got trunks full of money, you know, nigga got money guns, nigga got more money than ever. But look at the mindset they're in, man. Okay. look how far away they've been separated from Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay. You see that? Jump down to verse 6. It says, eat thou not the bread of him that have an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats. Yeah, because Esau wants us in the worst and lowest condition ever. So he'll give you, the different delicacies of this society, just like feminism. The Eve sat at the table with Esau and ate the bread of feminism, man. Well, she was able to get these, either she was able to get these high paying jobs or she was able to get assistance. Okay. She was able to become the leader of the household. Okay. She sat at the table with Esau, man. All right. Niggas, when they do these record deals, they sit at the table with Esau, man. And Esau pays these niggas millions of dollars to push and rap death. Okay. It says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, said he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. His mind is not towards your benefit. Because when you eat, it's supposed to be to a benefit. Okay? When you sit down and eat, you were supposed to leave in a better state. Okay? But nah, our people have become drunken, and the scriptures say, uh, let's get this, showing you talking about a mindset. All right, this Isaiah 29 and 9. It says, "Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink." Okay, so it's just speaking of philosophy, a way of life. Okay, that our people are drunken off of, man, by eating at the king's table, man, partaking in the king's meat, man, and the kings of the earth now, who? Edomites, Esau, Edom. Okay, Isaiah 51 and 21, it says, "Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine." Okay, but not with wine, man, showing you it's a lifestyle, a way of living. Okay, and in this time, you might as well read 51 and 7, Jeremiah 51 and 7. "Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that have made all the earth drunken, that the nation have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad." Okay, so the Lord has pretty much set up Babylon, you know, which is America, to get the earth drunken off philosophies, man. Drunken off anti-Messiah philosophies, man. Drunken off wickedness, okay, and perversions. You see? And as we, fight to be right, we stand out. Even says that in Isaiah. Let's get that in Isaiah. We fight for righteousness, by default, we stand out. Okay? Now, it's Isaiah 59 and 15. Just as Daniel stood out, you know, uh, Mashiach, Azariah, Hananiah, they stood out. Okay, why? For righteousness, because they was fighting. They stood for righteousness in the midst of evil, man. It's Isaiah 59 and 15. It said, "Yeah, true faileth, and he that departed from evil, making himself a prey. And the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment." Okay, when you depart from evil in the midst of wickedness, you make yourself a prey. Okay, a target. Toxic masculinity, black extremists. You see, all this madness, man. But you have the license to do all type of abominable things. Okay, I think of somebody. Hold on, let me see if I can find it, man. Cause this is madness. Let me see if I can find just a showcase of the madness. You know, let's see. Mike, Mike can't find it. I must have watched on the other channel. But, all right, so let me read this real quick. So this is the book of First John. All right, this is the book of First John, chapter 5, verse 19, and it says, "And we know that we are the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness." Okay, so just as the world was bowing down to that image, okay? And Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah didn't, okay? They stood out. So we come to the time where we're going to stand out because of our righteous stand in this wicked society, man. Okay, but the Lord, all right, has revived us in the spirit, because uh, just as they, changed, okay, Daniel, all right, Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah, just as they changed their name into Babylonian name, guess what? The Lord put the spirit on us to come back to who we are. Okay, and while you read this in Isaiah 44 and 1, it says, "Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus said the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground." See, now we're eating of the real king's meat. Okay, the real king's diet. Okay, which is of Yahweh Shema Shai. It says, "I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessing upon thy offspring." And this will happen within our captivity. What it say, in the land of their captivity, what? They shall remember themselves. Okay? Because what they would do in captivity is what? Brainwash you to forget who you were, your foundation. And there was always heavy amongst our people when we be taken captive, that our captors will want to brainwash us and make us like unto them. Okay? And it says, "And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel." So just as they change, you know, our people's name into slave names, Babylonian names, guess what? The Lord has changed our slave names back into Hebrew names, man. You see? And what did we start to do? We started to reject the bread of the Gentiles, okay? And start to be conformed unto, okay, Yahweh by Shema Shai. We've taken on the diet of our king, man. Okay, which is these scriptures, man. Okay, which is conforming us unto righteousness. You see? So it's pretty much the point. I think uh everything that came out. So, any questions or comments, just leave, in the comment section of the video. We'll get into it. And I pray, that this was edifying, that it made sense. Until next time, I say Shalom. Kwam Yashala, Abab, DTA, Shalom.